To his fans, he's the supreme leader of the cult known as Assassin. But to everyone who hasn't fallen victim to him and his tactics, he has names such as the Fake and the Pretender, the Snake and the Sinner, the Ain't and the Beginner. But why? Who really is the Saint and the Sinner, aka Marquette Devon Burn? Why does he demand worship from all those who he comes into contact with?
Inspirational message, as though I'm the Black Messiah. It's because there ain't many of us.
Why is his whole life a lie? But most importantly, why has he been on a smear campaign against an innocent 18-year-old girl?
I just want to say thank you so much, you guys. I really appreciate it. I don't know why, but the videos are still up.
Well, we'll be able to hear that from the horse's mouth, but before we can get to that, if you haven't seen the first video introducing us to this cult, I strongly urge you to watch it. Not just because it's my work and I'm proud of it, but because some things from there won't be spoken about here to avoid repeating myself. That being said, some of the most sinister parts about that cult are detailed in that video, so if you haven't watched it, genuinely pause and go watch that first. But a brief overview, this guy's running an unironic cult. And I don't mean that in the has a very active fan base way. I mean he's running an actual full-blown one where he's the leader.
There's only one saint who has officially had sainthood conferred upon him, right? There's levels to this stuff, right? Like the membership means you paid to get exclusive information. And then firstly, the first level is conferral of sainthood, means we're familiar with you enough. We conferred sainthood upon you. You're officially within this thing of ours. And then there's higher levels than that, which means like you hold a position within the Assassin.
Luckily, I believe my first video has actually made an impact. People are starting to wake up to the weirdo that this guy is. The man is unironically making his own Jonestown or cult headquarters. The darkest YouTube cult leader doesn't sound so far-fetched now, huh? Further, it goes on to state that he's gonna ask his followers for 90% of it, and in return, give them 5% equity. I don't know if this is stated to happen, or OP's just predicting, but I wouldn't be surprised either way. And when compared to Dr. Umar, which honestly is a compliment for the likes of the Sinner, he goes on to say he hasn't collected a single penny, which is patently false. Anyway, you're about to watch a video on who I believe to be one of the most calculated, narcissistic, and sociopathic characters to have ever cursed the landscape of YouTube. And I don't exaggerate when I say this. I'm silencing any and all critiques of him through thinly veiled threats.
Anyone who has tried to destroy my brand or my livelihood, I want a pound of flesh and I will get it. Doesn't matter how long it takes. And you guys who have been following me for some time, you know all the folks who have spoken up on me, and 3 of them are not alive. And none of them passed away from natural causes, right? Not old age. 3 of them are not alive, literally, right? I mean, is that coincidental?
While at the same time begging for donations because as a revolutionary, the government is trying to silence him.
To know that this government is wicked and needs to fall. And I don't care if it's a Democrat or a Republican in office, because frankly, they've been doing the same thing.
To calling his cult to find people he disagrees with and, as he puts it, get retribution for it.
Saints, I want you guys to know, if anyone ever figures out where he is, let somebody know.
To doxing and harassing an 18-year-old girl who made the mistake of dating him, to creating his own backwards philosophy he dubbed Marquettism, named after himself.
Marquettism.com. We can go through support at Marquettism.com and we consultation at Marquettism.com. Marquettism.com. Remember at Marquettism.com.
Along with lying and embellishing about everything he's ever done in an effort to get people to join his cult, read his Bible. Yes, he wrote a Bible. And ultimately protect him, worship him, and give him money. Marquette claims to be a technologist, a businessman, a humble teacher, and much more. One title he hates and tries to run away from is a title that fits him best. It's YouTuber. If you have any knowledge of this guy, you know he almost sees it as an insult to be called that. He would much rather be known as an entrepreneur.
In 20 years, like DJ Academics, building a YouTube following, it's not been my life's work, and I wouldn't want it to be. I would never want to die and on my tombstone it says YouTuber. To me, that'd be an embarrassment.
The reason for this is twofold. For one, Marquette has a complex that demands him to be seen as above everyone else. This is a very special reason he started this cult. Despite him trying to make everyone believe he did it to save the world, he did it for nothing but money and power, in my opinion. And I'm going to prove that in this video. The next reason is because he came to YouTube to sell something. It's not a product or a business like he likes to pretend he's an expert at, but to sell you an idea and an image, a belief system. And it really boils down to give me money and listen to what I have to say. That's Marquettism. He can't be holier than thou as a YouTuber. He's not like everyone else. He's trying to sell you something because he is a businessman.
I'm a businessman. I'm not a YouTuber.
A technologist, a boxer, a teacher, a poet, a philosopher who is also a millionaire. His words, not mine. Yeah, not exactly. In the last video, we went over briefly his businesses that can hardly be called that. But the way Marquette speaks, you'd think he's in the top 0.5% of wealth in the world. Notice how I said how he speaks would lead you to believe that. That's because how he acts tells a different story. How he acts just in regards to YouTube alone is how someone who is not rich behaves. I've never been in a stream that asked for donations more than Marquette's, and it's not even close. You can scarcely watch his videos and not be told to donate to him. He calls it tuition to soften the blow of the fact that he's quite literally begging for money.
Sending that tuition, because if this ain't education, what is?
For someone who claims to not be a YouTuber and have so many businesses around the world and business trips to go on, he sure does have time to react to trending topics and beg for donations. Now, I'm not saying asking for donations is a bad thing, that not being rich is a bad thing, or being a YouTuber is a bad thing. Actually, not being rich is a reality for 99% of people on or off YouTube, and obviously I don't think being a YouTuber is a bad thing. I mean, you're watching my YouTube and I'm very proud of my videos. But this is the fake and the pretender's ideals, and I'm just holding him to that standard that he holds others. He came onto the YouTube scene with the facade of being a businessman, almost every stream stressing that fact, saying he's so busy and he only live streams to spread the truth in his message because he's not a YouTuber and he's a businessman. Don't forget it. Yet it almost seems like the luxury lifestyle he promoted and the wealth he started flaunting had a one-to-one correlation with his Patreon members, cult members, and his YouTube viewership. He no longer claims to not be a YouTuber as much because he can't pretend anymore. Now he's not like your average YouTuber. He's your favorite YouTuber's favorite YouTuber.
Your favorite YouTuber's favorite YouTuber. Marquette Devon Burton, the saint and the sinner.
One way he tries to trick his fans into thinking that he's so different and therefore you should follow Marquettism is by saying he doesn't have ads playing on his YouTube
Obviously,
channel.
I don't run ads, but like, bro, nobody cares about views. Please stop it.
This, to him and the assassin, is supposed to be a big display of how much money doesn't matter to the pretender, because he could care less about monetization. You see, he just wants to spread his message.
I don't run ads anyway, so that my channel has never been monetized ever by my decision, and that is why I always teach you guys, well, I'm grooming the leadership class.
For anyone who knows anything about YouTube, or hell, even has critical thinking skills, you'll automatically think something's up, especially in relation to the sinner. This virtue signal just can't be true. There's got to be something more to this, and you'd be correct in thinking that. Because one, like we already said, what benefit is it that you don't have ads on when you're guilt tripping and borderline threatening your viewers into donating? When he opens up a stream and doesn't get enough donations, he'll then begin to say, I see you guys aren't supporting the work, so therefore you're not enjoying it, and I'll begin to wind down.
May I acknowledge Alan supporting the work via PayPal. I actually think I read that one twice, but I appreciate you. If anyone has any comments, questions, timestamps they want to send in, go ahead and send them in now. I'm going to probably start winding down because it's...
As if the only way you can show support is by donating $15 to get a super chat read. We all know this is not true, and the pretender lacks self-awareness, but he isn't dumb. He knows if there's a good amount of viewers, people are enjoying it, but he's a manipulator and a literal scam artist. Emphasis on artist. This is honestly an art form, and watching the Sinners videos are like a master course on manipulation and predatory sales tactics. So your ads being off are worthless because you're making that and more off the actual backs of your fans through either your Patreon or outright begging. The one thing I'll say to the assassin members who may be watching this, would you rather sit through 20 seconds of ads on the high end and not be guilt tripped and shamed into giving tuition, or not see the ads and be reminded to donate every 10 minutes for fear of your favorite YouTuber ending his stream? I think it's a pretty obvious choice which one's better. I truly don't know how he's gaslit so many people into believing this is done for some altruistic reason when it's one of his tactics and a complete virtue signal at best. The sinner is truly a diabolical person. He's not misguided or troubled. He's a genuinely evil personality in my opinion. The thing that finally pushed me over the edge to be confident in saying that is this story. The sinner was involved with the 18-year-old while in his mid-30s. You can have your opinions on that, but after they broke up, instead of being the real man that the sinner constantly harps on people needing to be,
A sucker like that who's not a real man of decency and dignity, no real man is going to hang around him as a genuine.
he went on a smear campaign on this girl. First, using her as a thumbnail for a video without her knowledge. She isn't a public figure, so this is clearly immoral. Using titles like the worst traits a woman could have and how a woman manipulates you. He's clearly trying to smear and send a message. My goal with this portion of the video is to have the sinner get enough of a response that he takes the video down and she can never have to deal with the sinner again. The sinner is all about his image, so he won't do it unless people call him out for it. And even then, his pride might not even allow it. To that end, all the pictures of her have been blurred out, so if he does do that, her internet presence is effectively gone. But to the sinner and his team, I have all the screenshots, videos, and proof from both sides documented and saved. So if you do decide to go the route of lying and denying that he typically goes down, the truth will prevail. I ended up asking Jane Doe to give me an interview and tell her story through audio in this video, but she declined and I completely understand. Note, this is not me DMing her, it's a fan who reached out on my behalf. She's genuinely scared of the assassin and the sinner, and honestly, I don't blame her. Unfortunately for the pretender, I'm not scared of a red pill lolcow, nor am I scared of a cult full of people who chant peace to the saints and give their hard-earned money to this guy. Carrying on, the first thing the sinner did was tweet that she was a working girl and put a freaking bounty of $200 on her head like it's GTA 5. When I was letting one of my YouTuber friends know about this whole story, he had this to say. And it's funny because it's sad. It didn't stop there. In the comments, you see him just casually giving out her full government name and her TikTok so people can harass her. He doesn't outright tell his cult to do it, but he knows what they're gonna do. This guy is so calculated that he got someone named Jabrizi to be the one who asks who she is. This might seem harmless, but Jabrizi is the Sinner's right-hand man. He knows everything and surely knows who she is. The Sinner just needed that comment to get the plausible deniability that he wasn't just casually doxing her. She's a working girl who is hiding her identity, but here's her identity in the comments. The next video she made is truly heartbreaking. Through tears, she's thanking her followers for trying to help her get the video down.
I just want to say thank you so much, you guys. I really appreciate it. I don't know why, but the videos are still up.
I can only imagine how scary it must be for someone who isn't chronically online like a YouTuber tends to be, to see a disparaging video of you with 4,000 views on it. Especially her being so young, that could actually affect her life. As of the recording of this video is still not down. There are tons of comments calling out this sad behavior. Sadly, she doesn't know Marquette is all bark and no bite. Earlier in the video, I showed a clip of the Sinner saying that 3 of his enemies have died. And that is true, but he's lying by implying once again, because one of the people who died was Kevin Samuels. Obviously, Marquette had no role to play in that. The next one was Sinful the P. Now, there is speculation about his cause for death, from anything from COVID to heart problems to even rumors that he faked it. All of those are unsubstantiated. I couldn't find any articles on what actually caused it. But there's not even rumors of this wannabe mob boss having any role to play in this. The third one, I don't know who he's referring to, but rest assured, Marquette had nothing to do with it. He's just lying and trying to scare people like the bully he is. In regards to this 18-year-old, he ends up just outright threatening this girl, stating that actions will be taken if she doesn't delete her TikTok videos. Yeah, the video she made in response to this predator. In the final video, Jane Doe is once again crying because she was just informed about the literal slander Marquette is committing against her. And not slander like the Sinner likes to say people are doing when they're telling the truth, but genuine slanderous claims he made about her on X. He then has the audacity to use Islam and Christianity to push Marquettism in the post directly above it. Zero shame whatsoever. This is who you're supporting when you send in tuition. A manipulative psychopath with zero morals teaching you about morals. I was appalled to find out there are lady saints, which is what they call women in the assassin. This is the man you look up to as a woman for guidance. Every dollar you send goes to enriching this guy. As I was producing this video, the Sinner did his best attempt to try and get his followers riled up and get out in front of the controversy. Wearing a Sherlock Holmes outfit, the Sinner's biggest rebuttal is that the girl is a working girl because she asked him for money to go shopping, and 2 is that she met him because she was a fan of him first, therefore she's a groupie. He even titled the video, "Women Chasing Money Try to Extort Me and Get Clout." And then in the video, he doesn't even claim that. And you know if anything remotely like that happened, he'd say it throughout the video. So in the Sinner's head, this woman he met allegedly through his internet personality, which is just him embellishing his financial status. He met her in real life, embellished his financial status. He took her to the casino specifically so he can show off his wealth. She asked him for money to shop. She said no. They stopped talking and now he's being extorted. Forgive me, Lord Marquand, but I'm failing to see where you were extorted. He also maintained she was desperate for clout in the title and in the video. Again, the narrative only works if you're a mindless cult member. If you've seen the video, you'll know all she's asking for is for her picture to be taken down, not for credit or recognition. Hell, I even asked her to come for an interview. Like I said, the poor girl literally said, "I don't want an interview. I just want him to leave me alone." That is the polar opposite of being a clout chaser. Marquette is lying in 4K. The saddest thing is, the next stream, his members are all gonna send in tuition like good little boys and girls. One more thing. Amidst all the bragging and obfuscating, you might have missed the point where Marquette outright threatens this 18-year-old girl.
For you in particular, love, because I know you're watching this, you are seeking attention and you're giving it in a negative way because of your misdeeds. You'd be much wiser to seek attention from good deeds, because when you seek attention and try to earn attention from misdeeds, the price of that attention will be very, very high.
Please help me and report this man's channel and these 2 videos that he just uploaded recently, y'all. I was 18 years old, freshly 18 when I was dating this psycho. He's a red pill maniac, and now he's using the pictures we had as clickbait, y'all. I contacted YouTube's legal team, and they told me that I need to get a lawyer to send a cease and desist out. Other than that, the video could get taken down by being massively reported. So please help me.
This guy truly thinks he's a supervillain, and I don't have to speculate about that. If his actions didn't prove it enough, he says as much.
I am indeed the supervillain. I'm gonna tell you it's wrong. I don't care if I'm facing life on the stand. I'm gonna say it's wrong. I don't care whose feelings gonna get hurt. If it's wrong, it's wrong.
Huh?
It's a mystery to me why she tried to get you to fund her shopping spree. Maybe it has something to do with the fact you were humble bragging literally throughout the video. He was also lying throughout the video. She did try and make an effort to not show his number, but Marquette says she didn't. There's a reason he didn't link or say the TikTok name in this video. He knows the assassin will take him at his word and do his bidding. She did him the solid of trying to hide the number, and the sinner also pretended that he's giving out his business number to girls because he's so rich and famous that he can't have women who he's having relations with have his personal number. That and the fact that if he's saying that, it doesn't look as ridiculous considering that all he had to do was not use her picture, and even if he did, just delete it. But again, the entire video he's blaming her for not contacting him, yet she did contact him. You can literally see in the message, and he says, "Where are you?" before pretending to be an assistant. The thinly veiled threat he made in that video, mixed with the fact that he said actions will be taken, making sure to leave out the keyword legal, is an obvious attempt at intimidation in my eyes.
She was out here. She said something like, "Hey, take down this image," and then the next text message is like, "Where are you?" That doesn't even make logical sense. No one talks like that. That's not a logical flow to a conversation. There's obviously text messages that have been deleted.
Pay attention to the fact that he said clearly something's been deleted. Buddy, it's your phone. You can just prove something's been deleted. Why are we guessing at it? Oh, I know, because you're lying your hair off. Why would she delete your messages just to leave "Where are you?" And furthermore, the only person who unsent messages was Marquette. The sinner is not a stranger to playing victim. He's been pulled over a bunch of times and always goes on his channel to whine and complain. Like I displayed in the last video, he truly believes he's the Black Messiah or some sort of revolutionary.
It's time for strong men to stand up, knowing that we are in revolutionary times, and we like to look back at the Germans and say, well, how could they follow that guy, and why didn't they rebel? Well, why aren't you rebelling?
Melvin writes, so how do good men protect themselves from bad government? Organizing, coming together, co-locating, voting, and establishing local power and expanding the movement. It's called revolution. It takes time, takes deliberateness, takes cooperation, both economic and political.
So to him, he's not getting pulled over for failing to signal, getting loud with the officers, and being uncooperative. It's because they want to stop him and his revolutionary ideas. He's not getting his car looked into because it's parked on the street with no license plate or registration besides the one he got from the dealer, which he needs to get updated, and all he has is a registration taped to his window, and people obviously reported that.
I'm calling to find out what the purpose of this was.
Yeah, you had a complaint there because it doesn't have any registration plates on it.
You had a complaint from a citizen?
Yes.
And is that something that's complaint worthy? You can complain because the vehicle doesn't have plates on it?
Sure, you can't be parked in the street when it's not registered and inspected.
So if it doesn't have registration, meaning the plates displayed, or registration taped into the window from a brand new vehicle?
Yeah, your registration is taped to your window.
It's because the wicked government is against him. The fact that Marquette can't fathom that the police are 9 times out of 10 just doing their job, and even if they weren't, and they're actually being a bad cop, because those do exist, if you were working with them and they were giving you a hard time while you're recording, it would look so much better for you. But Marquette can't do that. He's a god amongst men, so how dare these police question his car not having registration, or him failing to signal, or him rolling through a stop sign. The assassin will never stand for this.
You really wake up in the morning and feel like you're serving people?
Does this all still get information on your ID here? Is this all still good, or has that changed? Do you think you're helping me?
I'm not here to help you. I'm the taxpayer.
On the topic of the assassin, the actual members to be specific, if you go to any of the streams and anywhere the saint and the sinner is, to be honest, the cult is also there as well. Like I said in my first video, I'm not using the word lightly at all or for effect. Just take a look at any of the sinner's videos, or hell, even under this video, you'll probably see someone saying peace to the saints, or the abbreviated version, PTTS. For those of you outside of the loop, PTTS is their greeting they've created for each other. You identify a saint based on how they greet one another. This group has more than just greetings. They have Sunday services, meetings, vows, prayers, and creeds, which I went into in more detail in the first installment. But what I'd like to really focus on now is the PTTS. It's more than just a corny saying created by a self-important technologist. Peace to the saints, but only to the saints. This is because, like Marquette says, it's assassin or nothing.
It's assassin or nothing. You could be black, blue, white, orange, purple. If you're not a saint, I'm not standing up for you.
No ideology works with assassin. Marquettism supersedes all ideologies as seen on his website. That means if you're a Christian before Christ and you're labeled as a follower of Christ, you are a saint. And not a saint like the good saint, a saint as in part of the saint in the sinner nation. Furthermore, other saints take priority over everyone else. You're supposed to help out other saints over a stranger or anyone in need. There is a clear and obvious in-group and out-group. This is how Marquette gains control over his followers, and more critically, how he gets his followers to rationalize the contradicting teachings he peddles. The assassin already has a huge undertaking on their hands. Rationalize how the sinner is a technologist who's done business in multiple different countries and is rich, with the fact that he begs for money on stream, and the only products you can purchase from his businesses are dropshipped from his website that a 12-year-old could have coded better. And if someone asks you to see one of his technologies or products that he actually created, you're screwed. They also have the task of defending the fact that the sinner says he doesn't want to brag or show off his wealth, but when it suits him to get viewers and followers, that's all he'll do. This Congo dandy brags about any and all minor achievements on YouTube or otherwise, and in painful detail any chance he gets.
I'm Napoleon Bonaparte. I'm the big homie. I'm the one and only. I'm everything you want rolled into one. None before, none to come. Show me my respect.
But the very moment he's pressed for more details about his wealth, he tiptoes so vaguely around his biggest supposed achievements that gave him the wealth that he loves to flaunt in the first place. What I'm trying to say is this guy has less substance than he has hair, and he's more incongruent than a spine with scoliosis. There's no better example of this than in a recent stream he had, and in this stream, the sinner virtue signals about a passing of a firefighter. This is actually quite sad. He of all people called out Destiny for mocking the deceased firefighter on X. My opinion on Destiny's opinion is irrelevant. What is relevant is the fact that Marquette, like the manipulator he is, puts on his best performance, acting as if this is something so out of left field that he'd never do.
Even so sick as to laugh at death. He embodies much of what is wrong with this country. His remarks were so vulgar and hateful that I can't even replay them for you because the Google censorship will flag this video. But even if Google wasn't flagging videos and it wasn't 1984, I still wouldn't play it because that kind of hate you really don't want to hear. You don't want to let things like that into your mind and heart.
When in reality, this guy laughed at the deaths of multiple people, mocks them, and even capitalized on the passing of Kevin Samuels to both enrich himself and gain viewers.
And it's a goddamn pity, because if a could die that you ain't never knew, you ain't never shake his hand, that's goddamn sad.
Here's him going on a tirade on the stream titled Happy Kevin Samuels is Dead? Call in.
It is the greatest among us who can take it stoically and deal with it. You will learn the measure of yourself and how you deal with anger and disappointment. It is the problem that today we have so many goddamn weaklings, especially among African Americans, which is why the African American woman will not yield to you because you a goddamn bitch. And I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying in general, niggas, it's soft out here. And it's a goddamn pity, because if a could die that you ain't never knew, you ain't never shake his hand, that's goddamn sad. You heard me? You need to get together.
This rant came after one of his followers expressed the fact that they were depressed that Kevin Samuels passed so suddenly. Also in typical form, he had to put his name in the conversation as usual.
Kevin Samuels, he said some great things, but he ain't get on till he was like 50. God damn it, I've been on since I was a kid, because I've been embroiled in hustle mania, which is the work. Don't you ever take a day off. I had COVID-19, I was still going hard. I ruptured my Achilles tendon and still was working from a bed. Ain't no goddamn days off in this mother. You are the descendant of the transatlantic enslavement.
Let me be clear. I'm not someone who says that once someone passes, they can never be spoken about in a negative way. Generally, I can see why people say that, but there are many people who have passed who people talk about years later. The most obvious example is the one German guy we all know. He's exclusively brought up negatively, and rightfully so. I'm more concerned about why is this person brought up. In fact, in my first video, I made the same point. Kevin Samuels was talking about business and success when he found no success in business and only found success in dunking on women on live stream. Not exactly the most replicable thing to be teaching people for money, and it's very far from business success. But the issue is when you're talking the way the sinner is and then virtue signaling when it suits your narrative. In the case of the streamer Destiny and the firefighter, Destiny actually believes that Mr. 45th is a threat to democracy. And considering the events around January 6th, some may say he has a good case for that. But when he goes on and rants about how he doesn't have any sympathy for people that pass, it's at the very least expected from him. And Destiny has never made any statements pretending to be above not feeling sympathy for someone's passing. But in the sinner's case, he brought up Kevin unprovoked, with a video called Kevin Samuels Exposed originally. He got tons of views and saw that as a golden ticket, and the situation gets even more see-through when he finally catches wind Kevin Samuels is in his city, finds him, and then instead of saying any of that to his face or being a big tough guy like he always claims to be, he takes a picture with him like some sort of bald soy jack. After this picture, he started singing a completely different tune because he probably thought that it would look embarrassing even for him to go back to his ways. So they became cordial, and by that I mean he didn't make videos and streams dedicated to him anymore, and Kevin Samuels continued to do the smart thing and never acknowledged him like he did before. That's up until his passing. While many men were mourning the loss of what they saw as a father figure, the sinner, well, he was hard at work collecting super chats and yelling at people for missing him. So just to recap, the sinner once again has no actual values or morals. It's literally just whatever suits him at that point in time. When it's convenient, how dare Destiny speak ill about somebody's passing? When it's not convenient, it's who cares about Kevin Samuels, get to work. And in fine print, he writes donate, aka send me money. During the Virtue Signal stream, he did something that he always does, and it's brag about his impact on the world and talk about how others don't have any.
It's particularly sad because unlike, say, a video game streamer who will live and pass away having contributed nearly nothing to humankind, in fact, perhaps having been a detriment to the productivity of children, having been an example of being an idler, one who is glorified and takes out of the economy but doesn't put much back in.
You might be asking, what is it that he's done for the world that has surpassed Destiny? In the first video I made, we've seen all of his businesses, if you can even call it that. He also has the same talking point for DJ Academics.
Now, here's the difference. You said, what's the difference? When Ak passes away, and I'm not trying to harken this, but when he passes away, his tombstone might say podcaster.
Yeah.
Commentator.
Yeah.
I talked about other people and what they did.
Hip hop guru.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When my tombstone goes, it's going to say a whole best-selling author, lecturer.
Ooh, that's heavy.
Poet.
That's heavy.
Inventor. Yes, I've invented technology.
That's heavy, yeah.
Right? It'll say a lot more than that. And he'll disappear into the dustbins of history.
What has he done to surpass DJ Academics? Well, you guys can decide for yourself. Here's a list of DJ Academics' accomplishments. Here's a list of streamer Destiny's accomplishments. And for the sinner, well, he started this cult, so there's that. He wrote an autobiography containing riveting stories like the first time he got with a girl. And he created NFTs from the command line.
Long story short, I hosted a conference. I showed people how to create NFTs from scratch, from the command line, little buddy.
From the command line? Please, can you tell me how? I want to know how to create an NFT from the command line. Which command line?
NFTs.
But in all seriousness, these two accomplishments dwarf Marquette's by every measurable metric, especially the ones Marquette cares about the most: money, power, and influence. Destiny and DJ Academics have 20 times that of the sinners. The fact he would even utter those words is just a testament to how divorced from reality he is. He's so stuck in his echo chamber that he said these things and he thought it should be obvious to everyone else. And look, I'm not saying this guy is a complete fraud, honestly. Anything's possible. He could have his multi-million-dollar tech company up and running, but chooses not to speak on it while bragging about every other accomplishment, big or small. He could have multiple other businesses that he only refers to vaguely but never gives out any details about. He could have success outside of YouTube and be independently wealthy. I'm just saying there's precious little evidence pointing to that being the case, and a ton of evidence pointing to it being the case that this is all a facade. When looking at the sinner, one need not question his motivations. In my eyes, they're obvious: money and power. He's obsessed with looking rich and stunting on the brokies, and also spreading his cult, his ideals, and through that, his influence. He tries his best to hide his thirst for power, but he's not very good at it. An example of this is when he wanted to host a debate of Tariq Nasheed and Myron. To say he was desperate for it would be an understatement. He wants this for the same reason he attacked literally anyone for anything, and that's to capitalize on their clout. This megalomaniac is starting to realize people are ignoring him. They're not engaging with you like they used to because you've shown yourself to be little more than a lolcow. I mean, look up The Saint and the Sinner, sort by views, and the first video is him trying one of his tactics and looking like a fool. In this video, he's groveling at the feet of F&F and Tariq Nasheed. He gives all the reasons why he should be chosen to host the debate like he's auditioning for the Sharks on Shark Tank.
This will be beneficial for the both of them, but more importantly, this is a conversation that, if done correctly, I'm certain will reach the mainstream, and in reaching the mainstream, it'll get this conversation to a lot of ears of people who will benefit greatly, whether they agree with either party or not, which is why I stepped in to organize this. And the reason I want to facilitate this is because both Tariq and Myron are within me. I respect both of them as businessmen, as content creators, and they both have validity to their positions. Neither of them wholly represent my worldview, but I think in having them talk, will establish a middle ground that'll be helpful for the multitude. And so I think that this can be something that is socially, culturally, and politically important. And that's really where my work is centered.
He starts saying it'll be very beneficial for them to host on his platform because it could hit the mainstream, and Marquette just cares so much about this topic. If all he wanted to do was get this topic mainstream, he'd want it on the biggest platform, not on a platform that has less followers than the both of them. That's just counterintuitive. Right here is just sales, guys, and this guy isn't a used car salesman. He's a busted car salesman. It's similar to when a multi-billion-dollar company talks about how much they love the people who purchase their items. Newsflash, these companies care about you as long as you're paying. Marquette is the same way, and that's plain to see. And it only gets worse.
Number one, venue would be hosted at Assassin headquarters. The logic for that is, number one, it's obviously proximate for Tariq. He's just over in California, Los Angeles is my understanding. But more importantly, it would be neutral territory. So it wouldn't be in Miami at FNF. It wouldn't be in Los Angeles with Tariq. It would be neutral territory. That's number one.
He says the venue will be Assassin headquarters. And yes, he calls his studio the Assassin headquarters. Nothing cultish about that. But moving past this, he says the reason is because it's neutral ground. No, it's because you want the views, money, and notoriety you get from hosting this. Secondly, you've been on Tariq Nasheed's platform 0 times, and you've been on FNF multiple times. Furthermore, you're a red pill weirdo just like FNF. You can clearly see you're more aligned with FNF, so in what world is this neutral?
When I look at something like this, I think that we can do something bigger than what is typical with these internet style debates. You know, debates, especially ones that have meaningful topics like this, need to be attended, and we need to start styling them in the way that we would style a football game or a basketball game.
This here was the biggest self-report. Even if you didn't know this guy's character, and this is your first video of him, you would know what he's all about after that clip. We need to style these debates like football and basketball games. The only difference between regular debate and making it a football and basketball game is tickets. YouTube is watched more than regular television. It's not about the eyeballs, obviously. It's Marquette thinking to himself, how can I monetize this better, enrich myself and my cult, and make it seem like I'm doing the world a service at the same time?
Pre-record depends on what the combatants, if you will, would like to do. But we probably do a live stream, a premium live stream, and then of course you could purchase it in the aftermath as well.
And with this one, the truth comes out. The man wants to have it like some sort of pay-per-view event you can purchase afterwards like a DVD. Nobody is watching two guys who are pandering to their respective audience have a bad faith engagement, all hosted on the Fake and the Pretenders podcast, especially if he's charging for it.
When you have parties that are, you know, have enmity between them, and safety is something that I can assure, meaning that we have a security apparatus that's extremely well trained and thorough that'll be there on the premises to make sure that everyone's safety is guaranteed from the time that they arrive in the airport. We'll transport them to Assassin HQ. We will walk them back to the car. We will drive them back to the airport or the hotels, and we will make sure that they're cared for every step of the way. There will be no escalation of anything beyond verbal.
Next, he says he has a thorough security apparatus. But in reality, that security apparatus is literally just Assassin members he will have posted around in different formations to protect the site. How do I know this, you ask? Because a former Assassin member told me about this, and you can see on his Patreon they have Assassin security training, in which you learn how to protect Marquette, and presumably, if the debate happened, Tariq and Myron. I don't know about you guys, but if these are the security guys taking care of me, I'd rather just hire someone outside of the cult with real training. Side note, I love how somebody commented this and immediately got called out. At this point, you may still be on the fence whether money is all he cares about, and if that's the case, this far in the video, I'd wager the phrase peace to the saints is in your vocabulary and used regularly. For those who are less biased, here is the final piece of evidence, and that is the video as a whole. Look at the chapters in this video. They're all ads. One of them is even become a member for adless videos. Buddy, you self-promote every video. A larger percentage of this video is self-promo rather than actual substance. This is the same person who calls other people money hungry as they provide no value to society, while shilling the course that only enriches him. The only thing the saint could actually teach is manipulation and gaslighting. After some guy comments that he clickbaited the stream about the debate, he gaslit the dude and said it's not clickbait, you just can't read.
Where's the debate? So you thought this was the debate? Did you not read the title? The title reads "Giving Updates, Putting the Deal Together." Like I'm clickbaiting because you can't read. I'm clickbaiting because you don't have literacy skills. The title literally reads "Giving Updates, Putting the Deal Together." The title actually says that. It's not clickbait, goofball. That's you not having reading skills. That's you not being able to read.
Despite him knowing that people only see the first half of the title, and that's why he named it what he did. He did that for a clear reason, and his thumbnail furthers that idea. Just to drive home the point that the sinner is only motivated by his pursuit for money and clout, many of you may recall the chocolates in Romania incident. This is the time that Marquette, while Andrew Tate was all the buzz, flew to Romania to deliver chocolates to Andrew Tate. I think this story alone cements Marquette as a full-blown lolcow. You see, during this time, Andrew Tate was trolling a reporter who dropped a video on him that he thought was in bad faith. So he told him the only way he can get another interview with him is if he brought him chocolates to his address in Romania. Marquette, seeing this as an opportunity to capitalize on Andrew Tate's name and trend alongside with him, he flew over to Romania and bought chocolates to deliver to his door.
Special uninvited guests. Special uninvited guests. But see, I know the key here, the key to success with Tate is chocolates. It's a box of chocolates.
After getting the chocolates with his pretty little gift bag along with it, he finally arrives at Andrew Tate's compound.
Take a look around. We're at the compound right now.
He pretty much gets told to get off the lawn. Then he had a very sad and embarrassing drive home where he coped about the whole situation.
Oh yeah, it was fun. I had a lot of fun. Milken writes, I believe a millionaire. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you don't even have to be a millionaire to get your hands on the right things. Absolutely.
The comments are pretty much all telling him how corny he is, and he pretty much just said, I'm making a chess move. The only way this is a chess move is if you're putting yourself in checkmate, because the only thing that came out of this is more people realizing how unserious you are. Another big controversy the sinner tried to insert himself into is the whole Brandon Jamal and FNF debate, where a guy named Brandon, who has questionable character as well, was on the FNF podcast and walked off. The sinner tried to get clout off Tommy Sotomayor by insulting him, then singing a different tune when Sami went on the podcast to discuss it with him. Funny how he's yelling and screaming at weaker guys like MLD.
Explain the scam.
That's all the information I have.
You idiot. You have 3 minutes. Go ahead. Tell us the scam.
I'm done.
No, really. You have 3 minutes. Explain the scam. I want to hear about it. I want to know.
And trying to steamroll guys he sees as less than, like Destiny.
The funny thing about you is like you're irrelevant in the real world, and for some reason being a video game player and having internet clout makes you think that you're cool.
Yet when Tommy was on the show, who is no stranger to physical confrontation, he took a much more respectful tone, of course, right up until he left the podcast, and he was right back to his usual ways.
Sadly, I feel like you have a grudge. Like, for example, if I saw you out, I would shake your hand, I'll buy you a drink, you know, whatever he's tasting, get him 2 of them.
So it wasn't an interview, but we're doing business.
It's business right now. That's correct. This is business. Don't play dumb. Are you really? Is that what you're doing?
I don't know how. What am I getting out of this business that's being done?
Oh, you're playing dumb now. That's amazing.
No, what am I getting out of it?
Come on, Brody.
Please tell me what I'm getting out of this.
I'm trying to be civil with you, and you're playing dumb.
I'm asking a question, and you're not going to answer. You said it was
I don't
business.
respect that at all.
What would I be getting out of it?
Tommy, I don't respect that at all. You're
just not going to tell me what I'm getting out of it.
Following this, he had Brandon on his podcast, and in the same way, once he left, he began trashing him. He invited his estranged sister on to talk trash about him some more, and even went as far as to write a blog which claimed that the sinner is the one who wrote the song that Brandon is known for. Again, I don't like Brandon, I don't care about him. He's pushing 40 like Marquette, but acts like a petulant child like Marquette. But it's the fact that nothing is too low for Marquette. He wants to not just capitalize on Brandon's trendy name, but to also steal his accomplishments through lying and making a false article saying he created the song. You see, I made this video for many reasons. Because this guy is a fraud, and it seemed like very low-hanging fruit to call him out. Because he uses Christianity and perverts it to fit his agenda. Because he's a continual liar, taking thousands of dollars from men. Because he's a bully, and anyone who comes into contact with him should be aware. I was truly fine with making one video, but Marquette made the mistake of trying to silence me. I had less than 1K subs when I released that video, and Marquette did his absolute best to silence that criticism. At around 8,000 views, I got the notification I was copyright struck. I was devastated. Small channel, just started picking up stream, then boom. Channel with over 100,000 and a literal cult following just struck down my video. But luckily for me, I did my research and know how the YouTube copyright system works. I also obviously had a very good understanding of Marquette and guys like Marquette, and it was plain to see it wasn't a matter of copyright infringement. The idea that my video is a replacement for any of Marquette's work is a joke and honestly insulting to me. I don't want to be associated with this guy in any way but in this way. YouTube also ruled in my favor, so it's settled. The video is up right now. His literal only goal was to silence any criticism of him. Funnily enough, he claims that everyone around him is trying to silence him. Classic projection. I also knew from his past doxing history that I should probably get a legal representative to file on my behalf, so at this point, he failed to silence me and failed to get the info needed to dox me, so all he could do was wait and see what unfolded. But once my video got reinstated, it only got the video more attention. I didn't get any more comments telling me to debate the sinner because he obviously did what he did. The technologist wasn't smart enough to realize that doing that was about as close as you can get to an admission of guilt as possible. But after that, I decided it was personal. I'm gonna bring attention to this guy whenever he's built up a backlog of terrible things, and that came sooner than expected. I'm gonna use all the extra notes I had on him prior and do even more research periodically. And the assassin and the sinner will be my personal lolcow until he decides to change his behavior and I have nothing to talk about as a result. And anyone who could ever be a would-be victim of this guy and has the presence of mind to research him, they will see who he truly is when he's not acting. Look up the Saint and the Sinner Exposed. The first video is mine, and I have all the info you need laid out in there for you. And it's not just hearsay or personal insults. No, it's substance along with the insults. It's undeniable truth, especially to someone who's not emotionally invested like a potential assassin member would be. It has and will turn away people from his schemes. So much so that he either commissioned somebody or his group is that obsessed with him that they tried to make their own documentary so it ranks against mine. And the documentary is just clips of the sinner talking. Clearly Marquette hasn't learned from the whole fake BBC documentary fiasco that making fake media for yourself works against you. Obviously, it's a circle jerk in the comments, but funnily enough, the top comment echoes all of our thoughts. Like I said, the sinner is a very well-known scammer and dishonest individual. I knew the strike was likely coming and his entire goal with it. One person who dealt with the sinner in the same way I did was a man named Millionaire Mentor. This guy's got a whole black noir thing going on, like no one knows his real identity, and he wears a mask. But he made the mistake of paying Marquette to be on his platform. For all the aspiring YouTubers out there, don't pay anyone for collabs, especially someone with sinner in their name. This guy looks like a con artist straight out of a movie. Just avoid him at all costs. But he went through with it, paying the sinner $1,500 for an appearance allegedly. During this appearance, the sinner was taking subtle jabs at him throughout the whole video. Millionaire Mentor ended up calling him out for this, and in response to this, the sinner breaches the contract and takes the video down. Luckily for the Millionaire Mentor, he decided to have a copy of it because I guess he eventually smelled the aroma of scamming it emanating off of him and did that just to be safe, and what do you know, he ended up needing it. He also asked him to give him the money back because, well, he was paid for the exposure and the screen time. I know Marquette wishes his time was that valuable, but no one's paying you $1,500 just to talk to you. Call me crazy, but wouldn't someone who's rich and a millionaire technologist prioritize good business over a $1,500 come up? Yeah, they probably would. But unfortunately, this sinner rug pulled his own fans for $2,000. Why would he say no to scamming someone who he doesn't like for $1,500? He hit the nail on the head when he said, I can tell you anything you want to know about real estate, but he can't tell me the first thing about an NFT.
Anything about real estate, I can tell you anything that you want to know about real estate. There's no gray area. He can't tell you a thing about an NFT. And loser.
And that's exactly right. For those of you who don't know, the sinner got humiliated on Destiny's livestream and got exposed for not knowing how to make NFTs. Trying to grill Destiny on NFT, he did his usual trick of saying $2 words when $5 words would suffice, and using jargon to make the average person think he knows more than he does. But once he got pressed, he couldn't respond. He tried to tell Flacco on Adam22's podcast that he didn't answer because it's disrespectful, and it's like asking DJ Academics who Drake is.
A guy who's an inventor of technology and reasonably sophisticated, more than him and more than his viewers. Yeah. What's an NFT? One, it's a ludicrous question. It's ludicrous to ask me. It's a slap in the face, right?
Yeah, of course.
It's a slap in the face. That's like me asking DJ Academics, who's Drake? He's a hip hop commentator. You would know. If anybody knows, it's him.
Except his own argument fails because if you ask DJ Academics, it might be a dumb question because he's known as a hip hop commentator, but he'd answer in a sentence. The sinner is hardly known, period. Definitely not as an NFT creator. So when you're asked what an NFT is, a simple sentence would suffice, and it would literally put the questioning to rest. Instead, in both the original stream and the interview, he couldn't answer. The Millionaire Bachelor is calling the same thing out. The only people the sinner has fooled are his cult members, and even they probably have a low-level understanding that, yeah, this guy probably has no idea what he's talking about. The best part is that the Millionaire Bachelor ended up buying Marquette's name as a domain just to troll him. So it goes to his website if you look up Marquette's full government.
You go to marquettedevonburton.com. Let's just copy and paste. And then you say hello to fucking Millionaire Bachelor, all right?
Going back to the Adam 22 interview with a Sinner that I referenced, the only reason this cornball got an interview was because Flacco unironically watches him. As sad as it is, he genuinely enjoys his content. Plus, he was kind of going viral at the time for all the wrong reasons because of his what is an NFT thing. When I tell you I've never seen a man bounce up and down on another man like I saw in this interview, I mean it.
Now, first off, I don't even know how to introduce this man, right? I just call him Big Homie.
Yeah.
But for those who don't know, I mean philanthropist,
thank you,
philosopher, technologist, I mean academic. What do you call yourself, man?
I just say I'm a businessman.
Yeah. Now, because I seen you boxing too, man. I was like, well, hold up now, bro. Like, how does somebody get crafted like this, bro? Like, smart as hell, right? Yeah. Articulate, well put together. Like, and then you, like, are physical beast as well. Like, you can fight. How? Like, is it just severe training, preparation? Or, like, was you just naturally gifted these skills, man? So, are your parents, like, as high IQ as you, or like how does that work?
Marquette basically used this interview to damage control after the Destiny debate, and it didn't go too well. First of all, he actually made the point that since phobia means scared, and he's not scared of gays, he's not homophobic. The technologist Berkeley graduate doesn't understand literalism or the semantic fallacy. You see, sir, this bug does not exist, for it is not a stick of butterfly that is flying. It is simply a winged insect. That's not how the world works, Marquette. During the interview, he gets asked what his net worth is. Flacco states he saw the website that Marquette made and or paid for that listed his net worth, before it coincidentally went down after Destiny's video, and it said that he was worth $50 million. Before this and after this, the Sinner kept everything vague, alluding to him being rich and outright claiming it, but never fully giving any details. Finally, someone asked him in a way he couldn't ignore or pivot. The cult members and the people that laugh at them alike were all listening with bated breath to see how much the technologist is worth.
So I seen like an article, I forgot what it was, right? Where they said that your net worth is $50 million. Now, I'm not no pocket watcher.
Sure.
I'm not, you feel me? I'm gonna be more coy with my question, but how rich is the Sinner, man? Because you got some money to you.
I'll just say this. A lot of people, when they say that their net worth is fill in the blank, they might be including a number of asset classes, things that they haven't turned into cash, or shares in their own company, of which the value might vary or not even be there.
Yeah, of course.
When I talk about money, I'm talking about actual money.
Cash.
And I also have assets. And I'll just say this. And I try to create like global standards in civilization, the GSIC, global standards in civilization. Some things are just impolite. It's not quite polite for me to ask you how much money you have or how much money you make. A lot of black folks do that. But it is not quite polite.
And of course, the Sinner evades it and actually says it's not quite polite to ask about someone's net worth. Yeah, but how's it polite to have that as your main selling point for your boss university, your consultations, and the SASN as a whole? Also, that BS story of a bank saying he has too much money to be insured, you might think that if this is even true, it must be over like 10 million or something crazy. But especially considering it's a foreign bank that he's talking about, that could be as low as 50K to 100K if that even happened. He did what he always does, and that's lying by implying, so your mind can assume the rest. The Sinner has shown himself to be a liar, a faker, and a bully multiple times. There's no level too low for him to stoop, whether it's slandering an 18-year-old girl who had the audacity to speak up against him, then borderline threatening her, to rug pulling his own cult and lying about his history to fool desperate men. The Mr. Rogers of the internet, as he puts it, is a lot more like the Homelander of the internet. Just like him, he's deeply troubled and is insecure about how people perceive him, while at the same time surviving off the validation his worshippers give him. Evident in the fact he can't go 10 seconds without mentioning the car he drives, how much money he has, or how lavishly he's living. He's delusional as well, seeing himself as a god amongst men who deserves the respect of everyone, when outside of his echo chamber, he's a legitimate laughingstock. He thinks of himself as a powerful, fear-inducing man, but that really only works for his members and people who don't know him. I mean, just look at the comments under the Reddit post of him insinuating he's gotten YouTubers knocked off. They're all making fun of him. While the cult venerates Sinner, every YouTuber he's attacked and threatened all think of him as a joke. Adam 22 called him broke to his face, and all he did was hop on stream the next day instead of doing all that he claimed he would in person.
Every girl sitting on this side of the table earns more money than him.
Yeah.
Stop. He's an imposter. He's been outed in the past.
And he's mad about it.
Bottom line is, this guy is a joke. Every big platform he's been on, he came off looking like one, whether it was Adam 22 or the whatever podcast, because outside of his echo chamber, that's all he is. And remember, kids,
At least successful or has experienced any level of success in life can see two con artists when you see them. Like, nobody that's successful acts like this. You don't need to say that you're successful when you are successful. You don't need to carry yourself like this. The only type of people here that are so obsessed with projecting an image of success that they have to act like this are people that aren't successful. That's why they try so hard to project the image, right? Because that's all it is a facade.
And with that being said, thank you guys for watching this video. Here's a video of mine that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy watching, and piss to the Saints.